Hello, everybody, and welcome to Flannel Pajamas Family Guy review videos.
What's with the hushed tone, TJ?
I don't know. I'm just trying to start it off with ASMR. John and I were bored, so we watched some Family Guy season 17 just to see how our favorite sitcom family is going right now.
Yeah, 17 seasons.
Well, actually, there's 18. We were watching season 17.
Yeah, and you said that you were watching new season 18 episodes. Right?
I've watched like almost all of the most recent Family Guy recently, just for cringe factor. I maybe laughed like 10 times throughout the entire thing.
And how much of that was genuine or ironic?
Well, ironic laughter is a lot more than genuine laughter.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I was only counting my genuine laughter. I didn't count ironic laughter when I said 10.
So TJ and I decided to watch this one episode called Trans Fat.
It's
You could see where this is going.
the name. Okay, so we don't want to get in any political trouble. We have no problem with however anyone chooses to live their life. But this episode, well, it didn't really make fun of it very much.
No, but
It
was just bad for other reasons.
like the only redeemable part of the episode was at the end when he was talking to Quagmire's dad.
Yeah,
Who was telling him like there are people that are stuck like this and they want to feel like how they're supposed to feel, or they want to feel like accepted in their own body or happy. Like that part of the episode was like, okay, I that was a good way to do this episode where you didn't just make fun of trans people the entire time.
No, they would not get away with that. That's something that Family Guy would never do, because even though they do make jokes about it, it's very left-wing leaning. But enough of the political talk. What you need to know from us is we believe in trans rights, and that's all. But let's talk about the episode.
We believe in rights of pretty much most things. Like, neither of us are trans, neither of us are gay. The thought of either of those things is personally not appealing to either of us, but if it's appealing to you, then great. Neither of us have any problems with that. So with that disclaimer out of the way, we're going to talk about the episode.
Okay.
Keep in mind, we have no quarrels with any people. Well, there's some people I have quarrels with, but
yeah, unrelated to any of this.
And unrelated to any of this,
because
we actually watched 2 episodes. We watched Trans Fat, and then we watched an episode called Briar Robot.
Briar
Robot
was weird. There's not much to talk about that one. That was very weird. There was an A-plot where Stewie makes a robot to realize that
Brian's life sucks and he's a pretentious asshole.
Yeah.
And then there's a B-plot where Peter starts working at an Asian massage parlor.
And the whole joke about that whole subplot is, haha, all the massage people are prostitutes. That's literally all I have going for that. So overall, it's not really that good, but not as bad as Trans. That was weird as hell.
Brian makes out with his robot clone self or whatever.
Man, that reminds me of some kink that I discovered on Twitter recently because of some artists. Apparently, there's a clone fetish. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. Anyways, moving on to like Trans Fat, the one that we wanted to do an episode review on.
I've watched a lot of these episodes just out of pure curiosity to see how bad Family Guy has gotten. And honestly, they're not the worst thing I've ever seen. Like, I can watch most of them without being like, oh my god. Trans Fat was hard. There was a lot. That was just a hard episode to sit through.
That was got to be one of the worst Family Guy episodes I've seen in a while, because it takes forever to get going. So it all starts when they're at the bar and they win tickets to go to see Red Sox.
Off screen, by the way, they win these tickets. They don't even they do like a one-liner to explain how they won these tickets.
Yeah, you think that they would have a cutaway gag.
You think they'd show like a little like 2-minute montage of them like doing silly things to get these tickets, but they don't. They just show them at the game in the next.
Or at the very least, they would have a cutaway gag. Instead, they wasted the cutaway gag on this one skit of, Peter won a karate tournament because he wore socks and used static electricity. Like, really?
And then there was that entire thing where Peter thought that people were space cats and space dogs.
Except it was real,
And they kept
it was
bringing
so
it back
weird.
throughout the episode, which is idiotic.
It was so weird. Like, that part actually made it seem like they were making fun of trans people because they had the gender symbols on it.
The only thing I laughed at was when it was just a chuckle. It was like okay, haha. Peter said something when his bosses learned that they all thought he was transgender because he had to use the bathroom really bad at the game after drinking like 5 beers, and then he went to the bathroom, but the line was super long, and someone told him that you can go into this bathroom, and there was the transgender symbol on it, and he didn't know what that meant, so he went in there, and then they saw him on the security camera and put him on the jumbotron and said, the first transgender Red Sox fan, and he was like, what? And then he goes to work, and then his bosses think he's transgender. He tries to like stop them for a second, like, oh no, it's a misunderstanding, but then they're like, let us tell you about the perks and everything, and he's like, I'm listening.
Yeah, and typical Peter being the asshole he is, just decides to go along with it just because of the benefits.
But the only thing I laughed at in that episode was right there when he said, I'll go along with trendsetter Caitlyn Jenner in order to get more money and fame. And even then, like, saying it out loud is like, it's the stupidest joke ever. I just laughed at it at the time because I didn't even laugh. You saw me. I was like...
Yeah. I think that's just the problem with these Family Guy episodes because they decide to explain the joke before they do it, and that ruins it completely. And not to mention, it goes on for too long anyway, so it would have been unfunny regardless, such as when they were back at the baseball game.
Wasn't the end of the episode they also brought in the cast of Bob's Burgers?
Yeah, for no reason. It's so
just
weird.
To make fun of their show.
Yeah, but back to that one gag that goes on too long and they explained beforehand was when they were at the baseball game and the exciting stuff happens when he's looking away.
Yeah, so there was an entire like minute and a half section of Peter looking back, of like him walking up the stands to go to the bathroom, and every time he turns around, like all the crowd cheers, and he turns back around to see what's happening, and everyone stops.
Yeah,
they did that for a minute.
It's like that one scene in the SpongeBob episode Rock Bottom where SpongeBob misses the bus every time,
Except
but without
that's
any of
funny.
Yeah, because this one wasn't creative. They explained the joke beforehand, and everyone in the audience is making the same pose.
I mean, I get that the animation probably take forever.
Yeah, because it takes about 9 months to make one of these episodes.
And their budget is not as high as it used to be either.
Yeah, it makes me really wonder who the hell tunes in that Family Guy to keep it on the air for 20 years.
It's still one of their highest rated shows on Fox.
Yeah, but I've never really came across someone that watches Family Guy on a regular basis. Like, I've seen some people that even watch Modern Simpsons, but not really Family Guy. Maybe not in
We don't want to
college.
harp on Family Guy for the entire thing.
But
honestly,
this episode
was
just
season
bad.
17, and there were no redeemable qualities of this episode. It
was
just
except for maybe Ida's speech.
Except for Ida's speech at the end, where she explains. I don't even know if that's like actually like real life though, because I've never asked a trans person what it feels like. I've never met a trans person who's actually had their gender reassigned.
Well, even then, it's more like they decide to present it because it's like a transition. It takes forever. A lot of transgender
But in the
people
episode, he goes to a bar because he's doing all the things that women can do, and he's like, ha 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 ha, funny. So, but then he goes into a coma because he gets hit by a fan at a place.
Yeah.
And then when he wakes up, his boss has paid for his gender reassignment surgery while he was in his coma, and he's like, "Oh no, now I'm actually a woman."
Yeah, like, why did they do that without he didn't even give a consent to do that?
Because they thought that's what he wanted.
That's why this episode is so stupid and especially since
he doesn't even face repercussions at the end. He just turns back into a guy and gets punched by Quagmire, and that's it.
Yeah, like his bosses
don't get angry at him for lying about being trans. It just happens.
Yeah, well, it was infuriating when he did eventually go through it because it was predictable what was going to happen. I knew that he was probably going to talk to to Ida, and it was obvious that he was going to be normal Peter Griffin by the end of the episode because that's how these shows works.
Yeah,
the status quo is
so
gone.
He started a dick starter. It's like, oh my god, okay, great ex machina, guys, to fix your fucking stupid ass plot point.
It just makes your eyes roll. And to end it all off, just my final thing that I want to say about this
There was a
terrible
school
episode.
shooting joke.
Yeah, like really, but that wasn't even the weirdest part.
At least it wasn't like. I mean, any school shooting joke is distasteful.
Yeah,
in
but
my opinion.
that's that one line, and especially in that one scene, only was a 3-second clip because it was during a school day at 11 in the morning.
Yeah, he's like, "Thanks for helping me, Chris, on a school day at 11 in the morning."
Like,
and
was
then
that
Chris
real?
says, "There was a school shooting," and then it cuts away. It's like, what the hell? Why would you even need to say that? Why not
Yeah.
just say, "I got kicked out of school because I'm stupid" or something like that?
Yeah,
Why
or
do you have to
even
make it
better,
edgy?
why did they even have to mention the time of day? That literally could have worked if they
I mean,
didn't mention
the
it.
only reason they mentioned that time of day was for the school shooting joke,
Yeah,
it was
and
just to set up
it
the
was
joke.
terrible.
which they could have just said, "Thanks, Chris." And then Chris could have said like a witty one-liner instead of a school shooting joke, and that would have been a way better cut to that.
I'm actually surprised that Family Guy can get away with that because you cannot do that today. It's not
Dude,
funny.
have you ever seen the episode where Peter's like, "I never get picked to do anything," and then it's this guy on a roof with a sniper, and he starts like fucking killing people, and Peter waves to him through the sniper scope, and he doesn't shoot Peter, and Peter's like, "Aw."
That sounds so stupid.
I know.
And the one last comment that I want to make about this episode is that this had this weird joke side plot where Meg was getting married. And
no, she wasn't getting married. She just
What?
wore it to kill people. She had a wedding dress that Peter wore at one point, and then he's like, "No, Meg wears this to kill people." When people asked if it was Lois's wedding dress, and then throughout the episode, like they kept bringing up the fact that Meg kills people in this wedding dress. And at the end of the freaking episode, Meg comes out of a bathroom stall covered in blood, and she's like, "Today has been crazy." It's like, what the hell?
And not to mention, I don't understand the joke in the first place. Like, why a wedding dress? Why is it? Why Meg is
Who
doing
cares?
this?
But
It
they
just
also
doesn't
made
make
a bunch
sense.
of cutting jokes at the end of the episode. Remember?
Yeah.
Meg was talking about how like you've cut yourself on your leg to feel something. It's like, come on, guys.
Damn.
It's like, really, do you have to? I know that Family Guy is an edgy, trashy show, but does it constantly have to be that?
Especially when it comes in regards to Meg, they treat the character with no dignity.
Like, I know that Meg is their personal punching bag, which I'm okay with. You know what? Every show has to have one of those personal punching
Yeah,
bags.
I would be fine with it if sometimes they didn't go too far and if she was
Yeah, like
actually
talk about her
treated-
fucking cutting herself constantly. And
Yeah, like there's some stuff that goes too far, and it would have worked better if she had no dignity to begin with the show, but she did. She was an actual character. Now she's just a punching bag, you know?
Yeah. And like how Stu... Well, actually, I'll be completely honest. I like Stewie's character. Stewie is the only character I like more now than I used to like.
Because all Stewie wanted to do was kill
Stewie
Lois
is
for no
it's
reason.
just, I want to take over the world. I'm an evil baby. Haha. Now he's like... Now he's got some witty remarks. I mean, like, the phase where they made him be like, is he gay? Is he not gay? That part was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, honestly, that you make a good point with Stewie. I think I like newer Stewie, but every other character
Every other character has just... You know what? I like newer Chris, too. Some parts of newer Chris are okay. Because
Yeah.
old Chris was just like, "Oh, Dad, oh."
Yeah, I guess
But
so.
new Brian is annoying as all hell. New Peter's...
It's like how
Fucking idiot.
it's like Simpsons when they ruin Homer.
Yeah. Except for Peter's like 10 times worse than Homer. Although, is he? Because Peter knows he's being a douche. Homer is just a douche because he's a fucking idiot. Well, no, so is Peter. I don't know. They're both bad characters now. But we don't want to talk so much about this because we got stuff we want to do. But all we wanted to say was we watched this episode. It was a bad episode.
And TJ told me he needed me to help him get
Yeah,
through
like
it.
I
'cause he
saw
knew-
I saw this episode when I was going through the list of episodes, and I'm like, trans fat, and I could already tell what it was about. I could already tell that Peter was going to go trans because, haha, funny 2019 trans joke. So I was like, I can't watch this alone. If I ever get the chance to watch this with a person, I will. And then
Yeah.
it just so happened that John and I hung out, and we're like, John, you want to watch this episode of Family Guy? And we did. So that's all I have to say about that.
If you want to watch a dumb Peter episode in Modern Family Guy that maybe isn't really that funny but better than this, I'd recommend the one where Peter becomes like a chain smoker.
Secondhand Spoke is what that one's called. I only know that because I watched it a few days ago. Because I'm binging all the Family Guy seasons backwards.
Yeah. What did you think
order.
of that one?
That one.
Because
I like how at the end, like, he doesn't go back to being normal. At the end, he's like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "No, you're stuck with this, Peter." This is, like, at the end of the episode, he still is like all like decrepit and cancer-like.
Yeah, and I think what made me actually kind of like that episode, I say like kind of loosely, was when he got hired to do those like anti-smoking ads and continued smoking just so he can look more and more deformed for these ads and get money from it.
I mean, it's just stupid, but trans fat, I'd give it. See, it's not. So there are episodes that are just plain bad, like that they're just untasteful, mean, just horrible episodes. This one wasn't necessarily like that,
but it's certainly one of the worst ones I've seen in recent memory.
I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10.
I'd say
maybe 2 out of 10.
Actually, 2 out of 10. The reason, even if it's a small detail, that fucking school shooting joke was really not needed.
Yeah, it was not necessary. So, Family Guy review, trans fat, don't watch it.
Yep, that's our review.
It's our Nostalgia Critic review. Bye-bye, everybody.